because it had no root. Other seed, kid you not, a seed just fell out of the. Welcome back to the channel, yo. Today we're gonna do something a little bit different, but hopefully it becomes a norm, and that's gonna be just the normal, well, not normal, just Bible studies. I enjoy them a lot, and I think y'all do too, from what the reactions I've seen, some of the reactions I've seen. So today I want to talk about the parable of the sower. And if you haven't heard it, you can pause this video and go watch a couple videos on it, or you can just continue. So sit down, relax, and let's jump in. So imagine one day while you're out running errands, you find yourself in need of cash. Like, you're in a tight, but you know life is life. And while you're out, you kind of ear hustling, you'll hear somebody that's just like, man, I can't find weed anywhere. I'll pay good money for it. And you're feeling a little bit, social today. So you say, hey man, look, money is money. Weed can't be that hard to grow, right? I'll grow some. And then he looks at you, and it's like he gets this flash in his eye, and he's just like, hey, look, I will pay you whatever you want. Just come grow this for me. I got all the tools, all the tractors, I got the field. All you need to do is come grow it. And you realize that he's serious, and all of a sudden you realize that maybe I was serious too, right? Maybe I can actually do this and make some money. Like, I'm in a bad spot here. It's like I've been struggling for a while. So you agree, right? So before we go any further, let's talk about a Bible verse. And this is Matthew 13, 1-9. That same day, Jesus went out of the house and sat by a lake. Such large crowds gathered around him that he got into a boat and sat in it, while all the people stood at the shore. Then he told them many things in parables, saying, a farmer went out to sow his seed. As he scattered his seed, some fell along the path, and the birds came and ate it up. Some fell along rocky places, where it did not have much soil. It sprang up quickly, because the soil was shallow. But when the sun came up, the plants were scorched, and they withered because they had no root. Other seed, kid you not, a seed just fell out of the. I don't know where it came from. A little seed. What the heck? I don't know what this is. A little seed just fell out of the tree. But when the sun came up, the plants were scorched, and they withered because they had no root. Other seed fell among thorns, which grew up and choked the plants. Still, other seed fell on good soil, where it produced a crop, 100, 60, or 30 times what was sown. Whoever has ears, let them hear. So back to the story. You get to the man's farm, and sure enough, he has sacks of wheat, plenty of land, tools, all you need. While he can't do the work himself because of the state he's in, he teaches you everything he knows. After he teaches you, he says, look, for one good field of wheat, it should produce about 100 bushels of wheat. So for 100 bushels, I pay you $1,000. And when you get on your way to the field, you grab the bag of wheat, and unknowingly, its seeds are spreading all across the path. And you walk the path, and when you finally get to the field, you realize, like, man, this sucks. I only have 50%. And your heart kind of sinks because you realize, well, I won't get paid as much as I could have got paid for one bushel. Not only do we have as much for a bushel, and now, theoretically, I'm only going to make 500 instead of 1,000. And you start thinking about all the bills that's piling up, all the work you put in, all the time you took to learn this, and you learned it pretty quick. And so everything starts stacking up, and you kind of want to give up, but you decide, you know what, I'm going to sow this seed anyway. So you do. And over time, after sowing the seed, you tell the man, it's like, hey, look, the bag was open, the seed fell out, and you were just nervous to hear his answer, but surprisingly, he's just like, you know what, it's fine. You still planted it, you did everything, I'm pleased. Don't worry about it. I'll take care of the watering and the growing. You just plant the seed. Go do your thing. I'll get with you whenever the harvest gets here. So he does. And later on the harvest comes. And so when the harvest comes, you're just doing your thing and you're hanging out and you get a call and the guy's like, man, look, you won't believe this. You got to get out here. Like, I can't explain what happened. And suddenly your heart sinks. You're like, man, I don't know what happened. Things haven't gotten better in life since you planted the field. Bills are still due. Your house note's overdue. You used your last little bit of money yesterday. And you're happy to get the call at first, but now you're like, man, what's going on? Like, is this it? Is everything over? Like, what happened? And so on your way there, you walk down the path again and you realize like some of this path was rocky, some of it had thorns, some of it was just plain. And what all of it had in common was that it was dead wheat. The wheat that sprung up there didn't live. And so now you're worried. Right? You're beating yourself up. You're like, man, I don't know. I tried. I did my best. Like, I don't know what's going on. It sucks. Life just sucks. I'm sad. The wheat won't grow. There won't be anything to harvest. I won't get paid, pretty much. And when you finally do get there, you look at the field and you're just in shock. The field is abundant with wheat. Not only it's so abundant that you can't even walk through it. That's how much it is. And the old man looks at you, he's like, I have no idea how much wheat this is. You told me you only had half a bag. Like, this is not making sense. Like, how is this a thing? And so you both decide, okay, we're gonna harvest the field, and we're gonna see how much we have. When you leave that day, you leave with a $100,000 check. Somehow, miraculously, the seed sprouted and cultivated a field of over 100 times the amount that you planted. So you came out with 100 grand, and you're just in shock. Now you can pay things off. Everything is kind of handled, and you feel this immense peace. And you kind of mumble out loud on your way out, like, it doesn't make sense. I only planted half the field. The old man only had one bag of wheat. How does this even make sense? I wasn't even supposed to be at the store. I was joking when I told him I planted this. Now, all of a sudden, everything's changed. And you say out loud, like, what does this mean? Let's get back to the story in the Bible, the parable, and we'll explain what it means. He says, Mathew 13:18-23. Listen to what the parable of the sower means. When anyone hears the message about the kingdom and does not understand it, the evil one comes and snatches away what is sown in their heart. This is a seed sown along the path. The seed falling along rocky ground refers to someone who hears the word and at once receives it with joy. But since they have no root, they last only a short time. When trouble or persecution comes because of the word, they quickly fall away. The seed falling among the thorns refers to someone who hears the word, but worries of this life and the deceitfulness of wealth choke the word, making it unfruitful. But the seed falling on good soil refers to someone who hears the word and understands it. This is the one who produces a crop, yielding 100, 60, or 30 times what is sown. So you're probably wondering, like, okay, I get it, how it's important. Or you probably have questions like, what does this mean? Like, what does it mean? You hear the word and like you receive it, but you don't receive it. Or you're probably like, I've kind of been like all three of these people or all four of these people. So if you're either one of these people, I have something to recommend. But we'll get to that after these 4 points. So the first point is that Jesus leaves the planting to us, but he waters and he grows. Jesus in the parable is a sower, but he often talks about in the Bible planting seeds and allow him to do the watering and the growing. But also in this parable, he gives the seed the seed is different character or different circumstances. The circumstances where the seed is most valuable and most productive is in the circumstances where it is planted in good soil and it gets a chance to make a root, and then it yields good return, right? So that's what this parable is about. which brings me to my second point. It's important to be rooted, and because if you're not rooted, when trouble comes, you'll just be swept away, right? And what does rooted mean? Well, rooted is having people who are like-minded individuals, people that can be the iron to sharpen your iron, people who you can lean on in times of trouble. So the Bible does say it's better to have two than it is to have one, because when one falls, the other can pick him up. But if it's only one, then there's nowhere there to pick him up. It's better to have two people or multiple people. The Bible also says when two or more are gathered in his name, God is there with them. So it's always good to be rooted in the word. Third point, understanding the gospel and the word takes time, prayer, and humility. It says that the seed falling on good soil refers to someone who is understanding. And understanding of the word, to some people it comes easy, to some of us it doesn't, but it's dedication. To understand it, it takes time, it takes humility, it takes, being able to be taught or being able to be sculpted by the Lord, by teachers, by preachers, by the Holy Spirit. And just giving yourself time to understand and indulge in the word. Because, and my fourth point, the more understanding you gain, the more true understanding you gain, the more you seek out God's ways and his people. And the more you seek out God's ways and his people, the more you please the Lord. And the more you please the Lord, the more he'll be happy with you. And then it's like a revolving cycle. So it's a beautiful revolving cycle that only comes from, I guess, just understanding his word and seeking out his word. It gives you a certain peace that you just can't find anywhere else. And so for the three people, well, the first person, if you notice that person is someone who it fell on rocky ground, which they heard that you try to give the gospel to them, or you try to bring it up, or somebody's missing them. They hear it and it's like, no, whatever. Evil comes and snatches it away. Whatever's in their life, whether it's temptation or doubt or they've been hurt, snatches the gospel away from them. So if you're the fourth person where you understand the gospel, you've been fruitful, you should pray for person number one, right? You should pray for the people who hear the gospel but don't receive it. And if you're the second person, which is a seed sown along the path, and it's you hear the gospel, you hear it with joy, but since it's shallow, as soon as trouble, persecution comes, peer pressure, ridicule, like, oh, you believe in Jesus, like, oh, you believe in the sky daddy, oh, God isn't real, that's stupid, why do you believe in that? And all of a sudden, there's peer pressure from the group of people or wherever you're at, wherever you're watching, that is what will take it away from you. So if you're the second person, get around people like the fourth person. Find a church home, find a preacher, find somebody who you can reliably lean on the gospel with. Find somebody who you can trust. Pray to the Lord, like, God, put people around me that are positive to influence me. Allow me to be rooted in your word. Allow me to have a deeper understanding of your word. And for the third people, the people who worry about, well, if I do what God says, I'll lose my money. If I do what God says, I know the Bible, I've heard it. If I do what he says, then I'll have to give away more money than what I'm comfortable doing. If I do what he says, I won't be able to live the way I want to be able to live. If I try to follow him, I don't want to get away with all my belongings. I'm getting them doing things that go against the Bible. Trust me. It's a Bible verse, and I will put up on the screen. It says that those who try to live will die, but those who will die to me will live, will have their life. Something like that. And all that's saying is, if you surrender to God, what you think that you're missing out on, you'll get tons and tons more. What you give up, God will replace threefold, fourfold, fivefold, 3 times, 100 times, 30 times, 60 times. Remember that, right? And if you're the fourth person, or if you're in a season where you're the fourth person, pray for person number 3, 2, and 1. Pray for the seed that fell in the path. Pray for the seed that fell on the rocky ground. Pray for the seed that fell in the thorns, right? And so that's the video. I hope y'all enjoyed it. It's a little different. But I just wanted to do this, kind of dedicate some time to God, and kind of maybe discuss this parable with y'all. So I hope y'all enjoyed it, and stay tuned for more. Peace.